work. It's a new week. So let's just take a couple minutes to settle in and come present. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And as you release it, allow yourself to relax your neck, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your back and your hips. And take another deep breath in and hold it. And as you exhale, release any remaining tension. Wonderful. And now let's gently press our palms together and softly rub our fingers against our palms. Feel the tingling in your fingers, the tingling in your palms, and the deliciousness of being physical. And bring yourself present. Welcome. I'm really excited about today's topic. What we're talking about is a shift of paradigm from, well, I'm not sure of the exact words, so maybe you can help me with that. So in the path of transformation, good morning. Oh, and I'm going to do a new thing this morning. Instead of responding to all the posts as they arise, I'm going to complete a thought and then look at the posts and go through them. So if I don't get to your post right away, it's not that I'm not aware of it. It's that I just want to try and make this a little bit more cohesive without the distractions. So what we're talking about today is a shift of paradigm from trying to overpower ourselves or get rid of things we don't like about ourselves, or vanquish them, conquer them, kill those parts, to a place of reverence and appreciation and gratitude. So let's get a little bit more specific. Recently, I recognized that there was a part of me that had an identity of suffering, that's what gave me my sense of who I was, or that was absolutely integral to my awareness of myself. And we have so many identities or so many things that we identify with. And it's actually those identities that keep us from our fullest expression of light and love and purpose that we came here to express. So we talk about in transformational pathways, killing the ego. And I'm going to instead invite you to relinquish the ego, or to honor and offer the ego up as a gift. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm just going to check the messages here, and I see Diane Allison Beiersdorfer is with us. Thank you so much for being with us, Diane. Okay, so we talk about ego death and conquering the ego, and what I want to talk about is that all of these identities that we have emerged to help us. Well, let's look at, instead of looking at these pieces of ourselves as impediments, let's look at these pieces of ourselves as gifts. So in my case, I was able to recognize that I had an identity, an identification with struggle. And how I discovered that was in a meditation that I've been doing from Joe Dispenza. And I think I may have said this already before. He was talking about what would it feel like to have all your needs met. And as I was meditating on that, what came to my awareness was the fact that I had no reference point for having all my needs met. It was pure imagination to come to a place where I could fathom that. And what was at the root of that was this experience of myself and my life with as having an underlying current of struggle. And struggle and sufficiency, or struggle and abundance and having all your needs met, cannot coexist. They just can't. So what I recognized is I needed to do something with this piece of me that was about struggle. So let me check the notes here again. Hi, we're in sync today. Okay, Diane says she was getting the same message today. So what I did was I looked at this aspect of myself that was identified with struggle. And the thing is that this is a sacred piece. So many of our greatest obstacles have been our greatest gifts. So in my life, the ability to struggle, the ability to, the fortitude of it, the persistence of it, the determination of it, all of those things really served me as life-saving gifts. And so often what these gifts are that present themselves in our lives ultimately create an obstacle for us, and often our greatest obstacles. So I was doing a meditation, and in this meditation, I'll share this with you, and I think I may have already. I envisioned myself taking this identity that I was wearing as if it were a robe, and taking off this identity of struggle, and very, very ceremonially folded it with great care and reverence. And in my meditation, I was on my knees, and I took this identity that had preserved my life, that had taken me to this point, that really was a deep, deep part of me and very sacred. I'm honoring it. And this is the piece that's so critical, was that there was deep honor, reverence, and love for this part of myself that had brought me to this place. And I recognized that I wouldn't necessarily know who I am without it. And I took this garment that I folded so reverently, and on my knees, I presented it as a sacred offering to my higher self, and giving over this identity to my higher self with gratitude and grace and appreciation. And at that moment, I burst into tears. And since that moment, there has been such a tremendous rush of abundance that it's nothing short of miraculous for me. And I don't know that that would be the same for you, but I invite you to entertain a new perspective about how we can honor ourselves through our transition, rather than taking this approach that's kind of violent, to killing off these parts of ourselves, overcoming them, and and not appreciating the gift that they have been as we unfold to expand further. So the suffering for me was a gift that gave me the ability to contend with so many circumstances. By relinquishing it, what I was doing was enacting a deep, deep movement toward trust in my higher self, because in relinquishing the things that we identify with, we can't possibly know what's on the other side until it emerges. We can imagine, but we can't know. So really, the process of awakening is a process of shedding these identities that we have enrobed ourselves with for survival purposes, to protect ourselves, to experience life. It's a vehicle through which we experience life. And to be letting go of that, we're allowing a greater freedom from that attachment. But people will fight tooth and nail to maintain those identities. So for those of us who have experienced struggles around money or struggles around health, I mean, even issues around health, who am I? I am someone who has had this physical issue, or I am someone who has had this family circumstance, or I am my grief, or I am uh, I am a victim, or any number of different permutations. As we allow ourselves to honor these parts of ourselves and give them up to our our higher intelligence and purpose, what happens is there's an opening. Now, there's an opening and an expansion because we're not harnessed any longer by all of those intense identifications. And this goes into every level, like the identification on an extreme end, the identification with being physical, with knowing myself as a physical presence, with knowing myself based on my personality, with knowing myself based on where I live, with knowing myself by the things I surround myself with, or that I possess, or that potentially possess me. So what we get to look at is all these identifications that we have in our lives. And as we become aware of them, to allow ourselves to honor them and present them in offering to our greater selves and our greatest intention. So I'm going to take a look at the messages here. This is so wonderful. I love that you are not overcoming parts of ourselves, our identities, but honoring our transition. That's the Shiro's journey, undertaken in a sacred, loving way. Exactly. And that is the shift of paradigm for our new world. It's the power of love and acceptance and kindness. We know to be expressing kindness to others. What we may have been lacking is an expression of kindness to ourselves, and honoring ourselves, and giving ourselves the freedom through acceptance to be exactly where we are. And it's only by being where we are that we have the ability to transform. When we resist where we are, when we deny where we are, then we're adding layers upon layers that impede our ability to interact with what's there. So I think that might be it for today. But I think that this is something that we're going to be revisiting, is the gentle kindness motivating transition rather than the force of overcoming. So expansion versus overcoming. Anyway, that's it for today. I invite you to check out all the other wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network. Really uplifting and transformative, supportive, beautiful work. And also keep an eye out for this Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Is the core this is the Core Connection, is the Broader Edge, which is a podcast I have the privilege of hosting with 3 other remarkable women, and that's going to be here on Enlightened World Network as well. And I think there's one more comment. Let me check. And no, we're good. So have a beautiful day. Notice the things that you have identification with, and allow yourself the freedom to honor those parts of yourself. And when it feels appropriate to you, offer them, those parts of yourself, in a sacred ritual to your highest self and your highest knowing, with great love and great compassion. I'll see you tomorrow.